Let's go!
Go have fun and compete today. It's not going to be perfect.
George MacIntyre Part 2 breakdown of a 3-part overall Tennessee offensive series. You get a really nice completion right there, a bad snap, and then we get to a few scrambles here from George MacIntyre. So once again, if you want to see the other breakdowns, including one of Merklinger, I'll link them down below. So we get to here, man, this is just really good quarterbacking. Now, it's important to point out that a lot of the Tennessee backups are out here, and you get a really good pocket that helps out quite a bit here. And should he have actually thrown this football right here in a pocket this good? The answer is probably not. You could make a case, but if they have bad pass rushing integrity, we want you to take these yards all day, every day. And in a game, he's getting tackling probably right where he was. You get another quick little screen out here for a short gain. And then, of course, we get to another scramble opportunity. You know, some receivers are taught to run into space. And you'll see Raydarius Jackson, who made one of the best catches I've ever seen. It's not hyperbole. We'll link it down below. It was in our first MacIntyre breakdown. You know, you want to run to green grass. So if I would have seen this versus a split field safety look, I am running and putting my hand up in the air saying, hey, I am open in this space. But you'll see right here that the contain is given up by the end, doing an interior move right here. So this is never a bad option to take these free yards. Okay, so we get to here, and this is just, you know, a basic little run. So if G-Mac is a quarterback, you're going to get a lot of quick screens, and obviously he won't be the quarterback as a true freshman, but you get a quick little pitch out to the left side. And we then get to here, and then this is the touchdown pass. Once again, the actual breakdown actually gave us a better angle. You start off looking to the left, and then you work back to the right, and that corner sat down. It's a touchdown. Once again, we have a better angle and breakdown in our other video. All right, so we get back to MacIntyre. You get the end breaker. It was kind of cut off at the beginning, and then this play is also cut off. This, honestly, though, on this run is really well blocked by this offensive line. And once again, lots of backups. That's not a Power 5 defensive end by any stretch of the imagination. And it's an overthrow to number 42 right there. Okay, good stuff. I mean, they obviously did a lot of these simple split zone runs. We're not showing you a lot of the runs that they had success. When you're running the football really well, these little slips work really well to the tight end. Okay. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay. Get a little run up the middle. Okay. All right. So you try to do the same thing here. Once again, tight end going behind the line of scrimmage. You're just reading this, and it's tougher to do this when you're throwing, you know, against your body. And this is just a duck. It's not a good throw. It wasn't deflected either, okay? And it just came out wonky, and it's an incompletion. We move along here. All right. Okay. All right, so this next rep tells you that this is a true freshman playing quarterback, okay? It is a good throwaway to avoid the disaster play, but while we slow-mo replay this, we want to tell you about our friends at Fast Draft Fantasy. Sign up today using promo code Carter for a $50 deposit match bonus. They're doing rookie drafts right now, and I do think Dylan Stamps is going to be a really good NFL pick. You take him now, guess what? You can win $50,000. And that's normally the key to winning these big draft contests is finding the rookie gem. Last year was Bucky Irving. This year, I really do think it's going to be Dylan Sampson. So, the first thing is Tennessee's offensive lines had not been good overall, especially on the edge when it comes to pass protections. But this backup unit going up against not so great ends, they have been really good. All right, so you do have a pretty solid pocket right here to work with, okay? There is some pressure, but you do see that there was room for MacIntyre to sit in here, okay? And one thing, if you are a taller quarterback, there's extra value of you just sitting in here because you could see over these guys. And obviously MacIntyre fits the bill at that 6'4" frame. But you can see his footwork is all wonky, and he is bending backwards away from an in-breaking route here. So his footwork is all out of shape when this pocket is indeed really good. Now, why does this matter? Well, you can't see the receiver at the top of the screen, but you will see that backside, this dig does open up to 42 as two guys take this guy and bang, this is there, okay? Also, if you would have sat in this pocket, you can hit this, and if this linebacker obviously bites down on the check down, this second window on the slant would have been open. Once again, it's not easy. It's easier said than done, especially with a true freshman. But you would like to see him get there. And now we get to here. All right. We'll take this. Once again, it's not the cleanest mechanically here. So let's slow it down just a bit. So once again, the angle isn't the absolute best. You don't get the cleanest snap, but it's still a good snap. And you're throwing a cross-field comeback route to the trip side here. All right? So deep drop. Offensive tackle rides 29 upfield after some pressure. So that's good right there from George MacIntyre. But you see, his footwork gets really choppy right here. He didn't really need to step into it the way that he stepped into it. And this base is just not where you want to be. Okay, you prefer, once again, QB mechanic experts, feel free to correct me on this. You would prefer these feet to be more planted into the ground instead of just making kind of a throwing, jumping-ish motion. And you'll see this ball just ducks and dies down, and the receiver falls down to catch it. Now, could this receiver have caught this football while also keeping his feet? Abso-freaking-lutely. All right, so this play is just impossible to really evaluate here. This is a good read by George MacIntyre. There is a heavy blitz, but once again, this right tackle did a good job riding guys upfield. Pause. And MacIntyre sees an open lane to run through. Now, in an actual game, you know, your Jack Pyburns of the world are probably getting a sack here, so you would really need to step up into this. But two hands on the ball, once again, it's impossible to know unless it's an actual game on that rep to see if he would have gotten through there. But it was a good feel for that pocket opening up there. Oh, man, this is nasty. Goodness gracious. So you get a stem from the defensive line. This is a good sign of knowing how good your blocking rules actually are. So you get a late stem, and guess what? The assignments still remain pretty solid, right? Left guard feels that the nose tackle goes to the right of the center, so once he feels that, he immediately goes to the second level. Bam. God, this is how it's supposed to be done. I mean, that's as picturesque as you'll see. You'd like to have gained a few extra yards, but still, it's some good stuff. Guys, it's just really, really, really good quarterbacking right here. You see man coverage, and then when you see this open up, all right, you want to work the intermediate middle. So this linebacker fanned out, this linebacker guarded this out right here. So you immediately want to work here, Okay? Man, dude, I understand this is a bunch of backups, but this second team offensive line did work. Now, normally on defense, with the way jersey numbers are handed out, your walk-ons and backups, and once again, Tennessee fans, I don't know this team as well as you do, but if there's a lot of number 50s on there, that means that these are, more of your walk-on backup types of guys, but that is just a nasty finish. And then, of course, we already broke this play down in the other breakdown. All right, in life, it's better to be lucky than good. And George MacIntyre gets very unlucky here. So he decides to work to the field side, and this overhang defender does a good job passing off the vertical and taking the in-breaker right here. And MacIntyre thought right here that this slot corner was going to stay with the vertical. He decides not to, and a better corner might be pick six in this ball, okay? So you got to be careful with that. Once again, it is so hard to decipher this. So this is really good defensive back play. But, this is a Tim Banks defense. There's going to be some pretty gnarly bust when you like to get exotic. And what happens here at the top of the screen is they decide to bring a corner blitz, and nobody is occupying the flats, okay? Corner blitz, maybe this backer was supposed to go with the tight end. So if you work this way, holy crap. This is, I at least 20, 30 yards at the bare minimum. So you get unlucky there as a QB. Man, that's a good cut right here by 24. You get a weird snap, hand it off, left tackle gets whipped, and that's a good run, okay? So we get to this rep, and you're running vertical, stop, whatever. Obviously, a lot of the times Tennessee has options attached to this. So, if he's playing this far off, you just stop. But these are just stops and goes on both sides, and neither were open. Is the check down open here to the tight end H-back? I mean, it is. But he decides to break the contain yet again. Roll out to the left side, show off some of that playmaking ability. One of my favorite things about the Heupel system is all the zigzagging that they do at their tight ends and H-backs, all right? So you get a motion here from the tight end, and then he acts like he is down blocking right here, but in essence, he's actually flipping back out into the flat, all right? And this overhang has to, back out into his zone, and he's guarding the deep over. So if this area of the field is deoccupied right here and he's, flaming down on this tight end, then you throw the deep over. If not, you just hit the tight end right here, or you could just run it yourself, and you get a really nice gain. Some really good misdirection. This catch is the highlight of this play, as it always should be when you make a catch that good. But now that I have this angle of it, the throw just gets better and better and better, okay? Play action fake, I just love how snappy everything is here. So, play action, once he sees that this safety is off this hash in center field, look at how quickly all of this actually happens. Boom, feet planted, no jitteriness like you've seen on some of the other reps, and fired. Really good pace on that ball, too. I understand, once again, the catch deserves all the credit, but man. Okay. What did we talk about a minute ago? Avoid disaster plays. So he does the smart thing here once he sees the slot corner just flying off the edge. He pulls it. All right. 73. Let's see. Could he have done a better job here? No, I mean, that's just a good play by that in scraping over. So once you get here, just throw this ball away. All right. And once again, you'll have an illegal man downfield call. I don't know. This is just blown up, but still. So you lose some yardage there. Good defensive call. Whatever. Okay, this is just sexy stuff. Heupel's the absolute best at this. Play action, tight end, looks like he's the lead block. Instead, he's slipping. And, man, this is honestly pretty decent anticipation, him deciding to throw it this quickly. Good stuff. It is wide open.